Hello, I'm Matrimelee Fish, and this is a tutorial on how to play as the bosses in Goketsuji Matrimelee, whatever the hell you want to call it. Basically the PS2 port of Matrimelee, the Power Instinct game. For this you will need three things, although more or less you'll actually need two things. We'll say three for the sake of it. You will need the game on an emulator open. This is a guide for people who are emulating it, not people who are playing it on an actual console. You'd need an action replay code or something for that instead. You will need a hacking program such as ArtMoney or Cheat Engine. I've got ArtMoney open here just because I prefer it. And do be sure to select the process, that is to say the emulator you're using, just by clicking here and selecting it in the drop-down box. You'll need to do that before any of this will work. Also keep in mind, I'd recommend putting down, or rather noting down, these character values. I'll have them in the description anyway, but it'll just remind you what value you'll need to put in for either Sissy or Bobby, depending on who you want to play as in arcade mode. You can unlock these characters regularly, but you can't use them in arcade mode, so this is just a little workaround if you want to do that. When you're using either, they will eventually both crash the game from what I recall, but again, it's just there if you want to use it. I think it's important to sort of note and document this kind of stuff. Depending on who wants to access it or who wants to play it, it's an important thing to keep knowledge of, I would say personally. As with, I think, any of these videos, please go back and watch the very first video I did on the basics of boss hacking if you haven't seen that already. I'd recommend it especially because it's a very similar method here to the one that I showed in my first video. So yeah, please do so if you haven't done so, otherwise this might be a little bit confusing. So this is a dead easy hack. We've seen a few of these where all you have to do is go from right to left and just incrementally search for a higher value. And yeah, search initially and then filter for higher values as you go along. It's that simple. So let's see, first value is always 0, 0. Not always per se, but in the majority of games it is here as an example. And you should always try and search for a value above 0 just because so many values in a game's coding are 0 anyway, because it is its own value, that it's better to start with higher ones because you get fewer addresses overall. So starting with this, Kanji is 1 away from, who's this, Ume. So let's search for 1. He'll be 1 because he's across 1 from her, basically. With this address range thing, when you start to search, make sure to put it as all. It won't work if it's on the emulator setting, therefore I have no clue why it's there, but yeah, just to let you know. So Kanji, of course, is 1 to the right, so his value will be 1. And we will search for 1 in that case. Always search initially, and then we will filter for other values from that point onwards. So Clara is again 1 to the right, so her value will be 2 because it's gone up 1. So we will filter for 2. And then Reiji will be 3 because of course 1 to the right, it goes up by 1 because that's the value associated with him. So that's 3. And then Keith, he will of course be 4. And then Annie will be 5. Superb. And now we've got these 4 values, but the only one you need to worry about is this one here. It seems to always be the second address, as far as I can tell, that controls the character value. What we're doing here is we're not so much hacking the direct character value, we're just hacking on the screen. So with most of my hacks, what you're doing is you're finding the direct character address and then forcing it to load that value. However, all we're doing here is just forcing it to load basically a song on the character screen that we wouldn't be able to access otherwise, a little like I did in Virtua Fighter 3, for an example. So this just affects who's on screen at that point in time, or rather where the cursor is. So you can see it moves to 6 there. Sissy is 16 and Bobby is 17. So if I put 17 in here, as you can see, it directly moves to Bobby. And if I put 16 instead, it moves to Sissy. You wouldn't normally be able to access this, of course, in arcade mode. So this is very, very helpful. Now, when you do this, usually what I advise in most games is to freeze the value in place. Don't freeze it here, because for some reason it will cause the game to crash. Not sure why that is. If you saw my Final Fight Revenge video, the exact same thing happened there, where just putting it in will allow you to access the character. Freezing it in place will cause it to, will cause the game to actually freeze for some reason. So don't do that. Just put in the value, click enter, or whatever you need to confirm it, and then it will highlight the character. Just press the confirmation key, whatever it is on this. And as you can see, yeah, there's Bobby. And then, just for clarity, I'll show you in arcade mode as well. So just do this again. Remember, ume is 0, 0, so kanji will be 0, 1, Clara 0, 2, etc., etc. So address range all, 1, Clara 2, Reiji 3, Keith 4, Annie 5. And there you go, this second address here, just put in 17, no need to freeze in place. Then just press the 0 key. And yeah, there's Bobby in arcade mode. Hope this helps you out. Don't know if anyone still sort of plays this game nowadays, but I know it's still a bit of a cult classic among certain communities. Yeah, any issues, anything else, please do let me know. This is a little bit of a workaround if the character values are the exact same in-game as they are on the character selection screen. So if you want to have like a hard load where basically you would basically find an address, freeze it in place, and then it would be Bobby every time, you can do that as well, but there isn't really much need to because this method is just so easy to do, and as you can see from that, it takes under a minute, so it's incredibly quick, especially compared to that. Hope this helps you out. Any questions, queries, anything like that, please do let me know below. And as always, thank you very much for watching.